This is Zambia, a landlocked country in Africa and home to 20 million people. Zambia is known for its stunning and iconic landscapes, including the Victoria Falls, one of the world's largest waterfalls and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The country is also blessed with an array of national parks and game reserves, making it a prime destination for wildlife enthusiasts. It's also famous for its plentiful natural resources. Therefore, it is only natural that mining is one of Zambia's biggest industries. Even before its independence in 1964, Zambia has been a mining powerhouse. The country has vast reserves of high-quality copper, nickel, cobalt, and many other essential metals. Zambia is also one of Africa's most politically stable nations and has avoided direct conflicts within its borders, which has blighted many of its neighbors. This makes it a potentially attractive place for foreign investors to do business. According to the Zambia Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, mining accounts for 77% of Zambia's total exports, and nearly 28% of government tax revenues also come from the sector. Nevertheless, as we have explored in a previous video, natural resource wealth may also turn out to be a curse and keep a country stuck in poverty. Let us go over an overview of the Zambian economy since its independence. Kenneth Kaunda, the founding father of Zambia, once famously remarked that his countrymen were born with a copper spoon in our mouths. It is generally thought by economists that Zambia's economic fortunes are heavily linked to global copper prices. Thus, the country is vulnerable to external shocks and finds it hard to maintain stable growth. Throughout the 1960s, Zambia boomed thanks to the high price of copper. The country enjoyed high levels of investment during the boom years, on average totaling about 30% of its GDP each year. The government used this money to expand the manufacturing and public sectors. Money was also given to develop soft infrastructure like schools and hospitals to improve the country's human capital and productivity. Furthermore, real incomes for Zambians almost doubled in this period. However, this boom was short-lived. By 1974, the country was paying the price for its high dependence on mineral exports. Copper prices had crashed and Zambia was reeling from surging energy costs and inflation caused in part by the first oil crisis. The manufacturing sector suffered from Dutch disease, whereby increased foreign investment led to currency appreciation, making exports less competitive, compounded by the high cost of energy. The country thus found itself in huge debts and was forced to implement austerity measures by the IMF and World Bank in return for bailouts. Public service provision greatly shrank as they were mostly funded by mineral exports. Zambia was stuck in persistent stagnation until 2005, when the heavily indebted Poor Countries Debt Relief Initiative and rising copper prices saw another boom. The freed-up funds had been used constructively in areas like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. GDP rose from $8 billion in 2005 to $27 billion in 2014. Economic and social indicators all significantly improved, with life expectancy rising from 51 to 61 years old and unemployment falling from 15.9% to 8.1% between 2005 to 2014. Since 2015, falling copper prices, electricity shortages, and a severe depreciation in the Zambian kwacha slowed economic growth. Severe fiscal mismanagement has also damaged the mining industry. The previous president, Edgar Lungu, scared off foreign investors through licensing corruption, debt defaults, and unstable taxes on mines. His irresponsible handling of Zambia's debt challenges and nationalized mines also made the business confidence in the country falter. More recently, due to the challenges of climate change, the world is seeing a transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources. As such, the energy transition would need a substantial quantity of raw materials to be fulfilled, allowing demand and thus prices to increase. This presents an opportunity for Zambia, who is still the world's 9th largest copper producer and a large producer of cobalt. Copper is critical as it is used in electricity generation and electric vehicles. Cobalt is essential for all computers and EV batteries. Global demand for cobalt is expected to rise 60% above 2017 levels by 2025. So, will Zambia be able to capitalize on the green energy transition? High demand and prices of copper is reigniting investment and exploration in Zambia. Numerous investments have already made headways as the government seeks to revitalize its Copperbelt region. President Hakainde Hichilema set an ambitious target of tripling copper production from about 800,000 tons a year to over 3 million by 2032. In 2022, First Quantum Minerals announced a $1.35 billion investment. Anglo American announced a return to full-scale copper exploration after it signed a provisional joint venture agreement with mining and exploration company Arc Minerals. In addition, Cobalt Metals, a Californian-based metals explorer, has launched a $150 million investment into the copper industry. Vedanta, an Indian mining company, have also promised $1 billion over 5 years to revive the Kokkola copper mines. Reform efforts by the current president has been difficult due to the unruly tenure of his predecessor and debt challenges. President Hichilema has promised to keep mining taxes stable and continue with the geological mapping of the country to aid exploration. Commitments to tackle corruption have also been made, with Hichilema telling the BBC he has zero tolerance towards it. However, these endeavors will take time to sway investors. Efforts to tackle debt have also been made, with successful restructuring talks with China and other creditors who have agreed a 3-year interest grace period and extended debt maturities. This helps streamline the debt payments and free up money for investment. It also means the $1.3 billion IMF bailout funds have resumed and are ready to be earmarked for development. Recently, international ratings agency Fitch Ratings has upgraded its outlook on Zambia's national debt and lowered its credit risk. Mines in the copper belt are expensive to maintain as they run deep underground and demand large amounts of water and energy. Subsequently, nationalized mines will be sold off to lower government expenditure and to help repay debts. It is hoped that private ownership under a stable business environment will help spur investment and increase mineral output. However, some have raised concerns over bad working conditions and low pay for miners, as well as a lack of PPE. Moreover, Zambia has looked to diversify its economy and expand manufacturing. The DRC and Zambia have signed cooperation agreements to establish special economic zones for electric vehicle and battery manufacturing using their own raw materials. Until now, both countries have been primarily exporting unprocessed or part-processed ore to other countries. These goods have little value and see large price fluctuations. By processing the metal into finished products, both countries can add value to their exports and expand their trade. A higher volume of exports means more foreign currency earnings, which can be used to import critical capital such as machinery for further development. Both governments are hopeful these zones can attract foreign direct investment and create higher paying jobs. As Zambia is a landlocked country, any exports must be transported to ports in Angola or Tanzania. Therefore, significant investment in infrastructure will be needed to cut transport costs and boost the competitiveness of exports. This may be difficult due to the large debts owed by the Zambian government. In the 2019 World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Forum, Zambia's infrastructure was ranked 124th out of 141 countries. The African Development Bank Group have pledged an initial $150 million to finance large transformative infrastructure, including energy, road, and rail network connections with Mozambique, Angola, and the DRC. Although Zambia is providing the means for a green energy transition in other nations, its mining industry is a thoroughly polluting business at home, creating environmental and health concerns. The Environmental Council of Zambia has raised concerns over land degradation and over water and air pollution. Agriculture employed 59% of the Zambian population in 2021, making this a huge concern. Contaminated farmland lowers output and causes food prices to rise in a country where 60% of people live in poverty. This may eventually force farmers out of work as the amount of available farmland shrinks, increasing unemployment levels. In 2015, local residents from Shimulala and nearby villages in Zambia sued Vedanta, claiming that copper extraction from the Kokkola mine, the largest copper mine in Africa, is polluting local waterways and damaging their health and livelihoods. Leaked documents from Canadian pollution authorities showed that the Kokkola mine was leaking sulfuric acid and other toxic substances into local rivers and aquifers, which provide water for domestic purposes as well as irrigation. The Blacksmith Institute, an American environmental research center, believes that 93,000 tons of industrial waste are produced in the area every year. Water and air pollution can cause disease and shorten life expectancies. In 2008, The Mopani mine was blamed for polluting the nearby water source that supplies the surrounding communities with drinking water. Local health centers recorded over 1,000 local residents affected by the leakage, with many complaints of abdominal pains, diarrhea, and vomiting. In response, the government is strengthening its environmental regulation agency and setting up a new environmental commission to better monitor safety standards. Although Zambia is blessed with abundant natural resources, it will require careful management to convert it into stable economic growth. As the Zambian president put it on X, the hard work is not over yet. The government must find a way to ensure mining wealth improves the lives of the citizens within Zambia by reducing exploitation and improving working conditions for miners. Revenues from mining must be allocated to diversify the economy into other sectors such as manufacturing and services to eliminate overdependency on volatile commodity prices. Despite some debt relief, national debt to GDP ratio still stands high, and significant efforts to tackle corruption will be needed. The World Bank expects Zambia's GDP to grow 4.5% from 2023 to 2025, which is still lower than pre-pandemic levels. Consequently, the government should take full advantage of the breathing room given by the debt relief and new IMF funds to stabilize and diversify its economy in order to pursue long-term economic growth for its people. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please feel free to leave a thumbs up and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more engaging content. As always, we appreciate your support and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious.